like when I was writing the 5th book, the Player's Handbook, a lot of people wanted, like, people kept asking me, like, Rollo, what's the best book to learn game? I'm like, you don't learn game from a book, man.
Yeah, man.
And so you have to be out there and immerse yourself. So if you want to learn how to speak Spanish, go like live in a Spanish country, and you will learn to speak Spanish at some point, out of necessity, right? Because you're in this immersion situation right there. But the thing is, I think back in the mid 2000s when this stuff was coming out, I think a lot of people still look at like PUA as like, Mystery with his black fingernail polish and feather boa and everything. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But you're talking about an archetype or like a guy like Mystery. That's like almost 20 years ago. Yeah. And so we're still clinging to that as sort of like this something that's ridiculous because we want to poke fun at it. But what you can't poke fun at right now is the fact that there is this new generation of guys who they'll laugh at that, but they lack the social skills, and that's really where game is at right now. And so I made sure that I introduced that in the introduction of the Player's Handbook, because game it's social skills. It's a social skill set is what it is. So it's not even just about so much like talking, I mean, obviously guys want to talk to women and be good conversationalists, but as you were saying before, it teaches you other skills so you can get a job. So you can like talk to, a police officer, so you can talk to your family, whatever it is, just so that you have those social skills. And I think that one of the things that's happened really for the, the Generation Z, the Zoomers, right, is that because they've been acculturated and brought up behind a screen, they don't have that immersion anymore, so that they're learning those social skills that you would necessarily pick up from previous generations. So when he's talking about like how people think that it's ridiculous to talk about like neg hits or like amuse mastery or some of these old school principles, that was one of the motivations, the incentives for me to write the 5th book, because I wanted to let people know that there's a lot of psychology that's behind all of this. That seems like, oh, it's ridiculous. Well, that would never work on me. No, it would work on you, and here's why it would work on you, because there's psychological principles that are behind that. You just don't have those skills. So like when you were talking about how you guys have been on these shows and you're better speakers, you're better able to interact publicly. I'm a better speaker, a better public speaker today than I was when I was working with Pat Campbell back in 2018. And he was my mentor, right? So I learned a lot along the way. Yeah, rest in peace. I learned a lot from him, and so like I knew all the red pill stuff. I had it all down, how to deliver it and how to be a good conversation, how to tell stories about it, because storytelling is a human need. Like we need to hear stories from people. That's how we understand like our surroundings. We pass on them for how we've done it, throughout history.
It's how people were entertained before TV and books
it's also how we taught the next generation what we knew from the previous generation as well. So we would have these, folk tales and everything else, or it could be just cave drawings, like here's how we killed the woolly mammoth.
Even in the Bible, there are parables to display certain things you want to learn.
Storytelling is like part of human nature. And if you are unable to do that, or if you're unable to be entertaining, but if you're unable to at least be a good conversationalist, because that's really all social skills you rely on, is really being able to tell stories really well and to tell them accurately, quickly, concisely. There's a great book. It's called Storyworthy. And I think it's Matthew Dix is the guy who, I got it through Russell Brunson, I think is who suggested this. I didn't know this, but there's actually storytelling competitions. Like it's almost like, cowboy poetry, but it's like storytelling jams. And you have between 8 and 12 minutes to tell a story. And then the audience judges you, and then they have like a panel of like 6 judges who will say who's the best storyteller. Wow. And there's a process to it. There's like, it's layered on, like here's what usually works. It's got to be funny, but if it's funny, it's got to be sad. And if it's sad, then it's got to be funny kind of thing. So there's this ups and downs that go along with it. There's almost a science to telling a good story. And doesn't necessarily have to be about you personally. It could be about giving a sales dissertation or something like that, but you just have to be able to deliver information in an entertaining way that sticks with people, and it's usually through storytelling.
And not only that, but like people, and I find it so amazing how like, women will sit there and be like, oh, you have to read a book on this, or you had to take a class on this. You had to educate yourself. And it's interesting because, you don't
just get it.
I say it a million times, right? Privilege is invisible to those that have it. And the thing is that women don't understand that they have a social gift where they're able to assess value immediately off of the way someone speaks, conveys themselves, etc. Men have to earn that skill set.
Yes.
Women are born with it. But what I will say is this. Just because women are more socially calibrated than men doesn't necessarily mean that they're good conversationalists. I want to make that very clear
Absolutely
too.
No.
There's a lot of out there that are absolutely stupid and cannot necessarily hold a conversation. But what I will say is this. They're very good at assessing your conversational skills. I'm going to make that very clear to everybody. I'm not saying, right, that girls are good conversationalists. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them are fucking and they don't have the prerequisite knowledge, etc., to actually be able to hold a good conversation. However, they're very good at assessing your conversational skills and how you can hold their attention, etc. And be honest with y'all, if you're good at, you'll start to notice this because women are very like-minded. Once you're able to be attractive and tell good stories to one girl, more than likely other girls are going to find you interesting too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
You know, that's the number one complaint I hear from when I'm dating a younger woman, like at 18, 19, 20, 22. The first thing, if I ask them, what's it like dating guys in Miami? What's it like dating guys in Marbella? What's it like dating guys in London? What's it like dating guys your age? The number one complaint is they can't hold a conversation.
Yeah.
The number one complaint.
But isn't it funny though? They're good at picking people.
Bad hygiene. Those
skills,
two right there are the top, like,
Bad
two.
hygiene.
for social,
Bad hygiene and that.
They're very socially aware, right? But they can't choose the right guy to marry.
Yeah, because they're screening for because they're screening for emotional engagement.
They can read your conversational skills, but not your character skills, which is crazy to me.